Good morning and welcome to Travels with Monkey Boy. I'm going to take you back to December of 2022 when we traveled to Sri Lanka. So buckle in and get ready for the stories. Sri Lanka. It's difficult arranging an international trip when you're trying to get four people together in one spot, 10,000 miles apart. And if you miss each other by a day, it's a big problem because we've hired a car and a driver, but our hotel is 2.5 hours from the airport. So if there are any travel problems, we probably lose a couple of days. Of course, everything went smoothly. Lizzie drove 2 hours to Milwaukee with friends, but forgot her passport in Green Bay. Fortunately, a friend drove it down to her in the nick of time. Then my sister Peggy tried to take them to the airport in Chicago, but Chicago got hit by a colossal blizzard, so Peggy's car couldn't make it there and back, and she smartly calculated that the big interstate bus would work, so she dropped them off at the bus station. On the way to the airport, the bus got in an accident on the highway. Through the snow and the dents, the bus got them to the airport 2 hours later than scheduled and late for their flight time. But fortunately, because of the blizzard, the flight was delayed by 2 hours. British Airways was determined to get this flight out as they had a narrow window in the blizzard. It was Christmas Eve, and already the next day's flight was canceled. If the girls didn't get on this flight, they would not join us for days. But because they were late and everyone for the next few days was trying to get on this flight, the flight was oversold. So even with tickets, they were told that they had no seat and had to fly standby. Half an hour before the flight was to take off, they were given seats and off on their 30-hour journey to Colombo, Sri Lanka, 10-hour layover in London. I think I soft sell this too much. Traveling is hard. Because I did it so often for so long, it just became second nature for me. But things always go wrong. And to be a good traveler, you need to be patient and flexible. I never remember these troubles, and one should never remember them because they aren't very interesting stories. But I lead off with it just to remind you that the joy of adventure always comes at some cost. Staying home is easy, but life was not meant to be easy. Meanwhile, Danielle and I flew from Kuwait to Qatar to Colombo, arriving at 2 a.m. Fortunately, the hotel we were staying at offered free 24-hour shuttle service from the airport. I sent no less than 15 email messages over several weeks to the hotel, letting them know our plane arrival time and all other flight details. After getting through customs, we looked for our hotel man with our names. Nothing. I called the hotel, no answer. So we arranged a taxi who had never heard of this hotel. But because I was organized, we had the map directions, and the taxi took us to this dark, deserted road and a sign for our hotel, which was behind a 6 foot tall metal gate that was firmly closed and no light on behind the gate. Our taxi honked his horn a number of times and nothing. Then he got out of the car and pushed the gate open and drove into the courtyard where we found a security guard. After some discussion, he went and woke up the hotel manager, who at 3 a.m. came out and welcomed us and said that they were expecting us, all evidence to the contrary. The hotel was modest. See the pictures. But we only wanted a place to sleep for 6 hours and recharge our phones while we waited for our driver at 11 a.m. Driver and his fancy van pulled up right on time, and since we had a couple of hours to kill before the girls arrived, we decided to one, get a SIM card, two, change currency, three, go grocery shopping. Okay, for some of you, this is boring, but I was not born in the world of cell phones. In fact, most of my international traveling was done before I owned a cell phone. Still, I've heard the kids are always doing this, so I thought I would try to go get a local SIM card. Our driver took us to the phone company, but you can also buy SIM cards right at the airport. It took 10 minutes and they slid out my Kuwaiti phone ID and put in my new Sri Lanka phone ID. And now I had a phone for making local calls and I got 60 gigabytes of data for $6. This also allowed me to set my phone up as a hotspot Wi-Fi access point, and the whole family could ignore me while playing on their social media for the whole trip. The internet service in Sri Lanka was pretty good. So even with all the driving we were going to do, everyone could ignore each other and not look at the amazing surrounding countryside, but instead stare at a little flashing screen. We live in a world of wonders that makes me miss the old days. At the grocery store, I bought a wood apple. I bought it because I never heard of it before, and it was cool looking. Basically the size of an apple, but it had a smooth, hard shell, harder than a coconut. I talked to our driver about it after buying, and he said you could open it just by smashing it on a hard surface. What I learned? I pounded that stupid thing against the metal sink in our apartment with all my strength, and it didn't dent it. I tried against the concrete floor on the outside patio and against the wrought iron railing at the condo, and I couldn't even put a crack in it. Along the way, I had several wood apple drinks just for my education, and it had a tart, disgusting taste to it. Eventually, I brought the wood apple home to Kuwait and smashed it open with a hammer and chisel. And then when I saw the disgusting fruit, I decided it had turned bad, so I threw it away. With a little research, I found that the disgusting innards of the fruit and the rotten smell was the way it was supposed to look and smell. Consider yourself warned. Finally, we went to a special currency exchange place the driver knew about. It took us through the frenetic streets of Colombo, and we got a much better rate than at the airport. The exchange rate here is 364 Sri Lankan rupee to a dollar. A year ago, it was 200. Sri Lanka is at a bad run, and their crumbling currency was to our benefit. When looking at travel plans, do study exchange rates. If you could go to a place with a troubled currency, you can get some great deals and help them out with tourist dollars. Soon enough, the girls arrived in a state of utter exhaustion. They left in a blizzard and arrived into the sweltering heat and humidity of Sri Lanka. We drove the 2 hours to the condo we had rented. Airbnb is a lot of fun to find a place. It was a 2-bedroom flat with $1 million view. We settled in, and then both girls slept for the next 18 hours. Okay, so that was the story. Let me show you the journey that we went on. Here's the map. Again, the girls. Lizzie started in Green Bay. Mia started here in Milwaukee, and they flew out of Chicago. And they flew all the way to, well, they went through London, so up here, and then from London to Colombo, which is right in the center of, where am I? Here we go, Sri Lanka, I'm in the wrong country, right to Colombo. And of course, we were living in Kuwait. So Kuwait's right here. And we flew to Qatar, down around here, and then Qatar to Colombo. And from Colombo, as I told you, we had a 2.5 hour drive, beautiful drive along the coast here down to Galle. Okay. And let me show you a few pictures. Okay, here's the bathroom in our hotel in Colombo. And if you you'll see later, just the week before we were in Abu Dhabi. So this was our bathroom in Abu Dhabi. This is our bathroom in Colombo. Here is the view outside of our window in Colombo. And here's the view outside of our room in Abu Dhabi. Here's the wood apple. You have been warned. Here's our fancy van and driver for the next week. He was with us every step of the way. He picked us up in the morning, dropped us off at night, wherever and whenever we wanted to go. Traffic in Sri Lanka. Note the motorcycle with the entire family on it. Most we saw was 4 unhelmeted souls, all fighting with the tuk-tuks, cars, buses, trucks, bicycles, pedestrian, cows, and dogs sleeping in the middle of the road. Fish welcome to our condo. Stairs leading to nowhere in our condo. Here's the view to the west. View to the east. comfy chairs in the living room overlooking the sunset. And that's it. Okay, guys, thanks for sharing day one. I will be back again tomorrow with the second day of our trip. Thanks. Bye.